أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Assalamu alaikum dear student, hope you are fine and okay. As you know, our previous topic was about direct and indirect narration or speech. Our today's topic is again the same. We are going to continue, that is direct and indirect speech, and we are going to discuss about interrogative sentences. Before to get started with the interrogative sentences, two major things were left. That was that we are going to discuss about, as we discussed earlier, change of says and said to and change of words. We will discuss that, just first we'll discuss this, and after that we are going to discuss the main topic, that is interrogative sentences. Change of says and said to, as we discussed earlier, you might remember in the previous, in lecture 1, there are main 4 basic changes: change of tense, change of pronoun, change of says and said to, and change of words. First, we are going to discuss about change of says and said to. Whenever we are having is, you already know that it is very important that the reporting speech must be and past said to, that we are going to bring change of tense. Change of pronoun will take place in all condition. Whatever condition it would be, whatever tense would be, it will take place. Change of says and said to in the presence of object. For example, I'm going to give you an example. If he said to me, or they said to him, my mother said to me, this teacher said to the students. So in this sentence, the student, him, her, them, they are all objects. In the presence of object, says and said will change into tells and told. Whatever the sentence it would be, either that is in present or in past, it would, if that is in present, it will change into tells me, and if it is in past, it will change into told. Second is in the absence of object. Sometimes it is not necessary that reporting speech should have object. We can write it without having an object. So in the absence of object, if the sentence is having says, it will remain says or say, and if it is said, simply said, that will remain the same. There will be no change. Just let me tell you something. Today's topic is about direct interrogative sentences. While we are having interrogative sentences, if that is only in the absence of object, we are going to change that into, because in interrogative he asked or she asked or they asked. We have to change, but it will not put an object along with it. Then the next topic or the next subtopic was change of words. What we are going to do while we are having some different words in direct speech. Here I have written direct speech. If that would be given in a direct sentence or direct speech, then we are going to change these words into indirect speech in this way. For example, if now is given, it will change into then. Like, she said to me, what are you doing now? She said to me, she told me that what I was doing then. Today will change into that day. The same example you can write, we will discuss in detail later on. If is, am, or auxiliaries are given, that would change into was and were. If was and were is given in a sentence, that would change an indirect speech into had been. If here is given, it will change into there. If this is given, it will change into that. If yesterday is given, it will change into the previous day. There are many other words that would change while we are changing one direct speech into indirect speech. But we'll discuss along while we are doing sentences, then we are going to change that into I'll let you know the changes, what kind of changes we are going to take. Our today's topic is, as I told you earlier, is interrogative sentences. Interrogative sentences, there are two types of interrogative sentences. First is interrogative with WH. Just like we are having when we are using what, which, when, where, why, who and how. Now you will ask me that how is not WH, but how is a part of WH. Now we are going to discuss first interrogative with WH, and then later on, let me just tell you about this, then we are going to discuss about rules of change. We are having another type is interrogative with auxiliaries. Interrogative with auxiliaries, auxiliary just like is, am, are, was, were, do, does, did, has, have and had, will and shall. When we are going to get start a question or interrogation with all these auxiliaries, we call it interrogative with auxiliaries. Now they are having different rules for changing. Just like we are having for the first, we are going to discuss in detail about interrogative with WH. There are some basic changes while we are changing interrogative with WH. First of all, we have to question will change into statement, because while you are changing one sentence from direct speech into indirect speech, what you are going to do directly, question will change into statement. Why? Because that is the reported word of the speaker, not the actual word of the speaker. In the same way, removal of question mark, because as you are going to change that into statement, automatically we have to remove question mark from indirect speech. Then the main thing is, this is very important, why we are having WH or interrogative with WH, we are not supposed to use, as it is a rule that we have to use conjunction that. But while we are having interrogative with WH, you are not supposed to use conjunction that. Next is, while you are doing WH is, we'll discuss later on in detail along with examples. WH will not be followed by auxiliaries. It will be followed by either noun or pronoun. As you know, whenever you are going to write or whenever you are going to change that into indirect speech, WH will not be followed. I am not using always, because it is not necessary in English. There are many exceptional cases. Maybe sometime we have to follow WH by auxiliary. We cannot use always here. But it is important to know, to keep in mind that whenever in ordinary form, whenever you are using WH, it will be followed by either noun or pronoun and not by auxiliaries. Now let me explain that through example. Example is, she said, why were you absent yesterday? Here we are going to discuss this as well along with it. Now here we are not having any object. This is reporting speech. In the reporting speech we are not having any object, only we are having subject and verb. As I told you earlier, if we are not having object, we are not going to bring any change. Sad will remain sad, but if you are having interrogative sentences, that will remain or that will change into only asked. We will not put any object here. Now, she said, why were you absent yesterday? She asked, no use of me. She asked, as I told you before, why will remain the same. We have to write the same. Why? Now, already in the previous lecture we discussed that if second person pronoun would be given, second person pronoun will change according to the object of the reporting speech. As you know, here we are not having any object. Object is absent. So in the absence of object, you will always change into I. She asked why I had been absent the previous day. Now I have underlined I here, and also you can see that here I have mentioned that was and were will change always into had been. The same is here. I, second person pronoun, will change according to the object, and the absence of object it will change into I, and that were is given. So if was and were would be given in a sentence, in a direct sentence, it would change into had been. Third change is here, it is given yesterday. Yesterday is given here, as I have explained for you that yesterday will change into the previous day. The same is, so here yesterday will change into the previous day. So the indirect speech would be, she asked why I had been absent the previous day. Now we are going to discuss another sentence, another example. Ali said to me, which book do you like to read? Now here you have to focus on this sentence. Here in reporting speech we are having object. Again it is WH. WH is given, and do you like to read? We are having, along with WH we are having auxiliary as well. We are having Ali said to me, which book do you like to read? Here, as you know, we are having, in the reporting speech, we are having object as well, me. Which book do you like to read? First of all, you have to observe the sentence in which tense it is. As you know, this is in present indefinite tense. The main verb here is like. Now, as you know, when the present indefinite tense would be given, it would change into past indefinite tense. Now, Ali said to me, Ali asked me, which WH is given, it will be followed either by subject, noun or pronoun. So it is followed by noun here. I, because you will change into, as you know, you is given here, second person pronoun, it will change according to the object of the reporting speech. Which book I liked to read? I liked to read because here like was the main verb here, so it will change into liked. Now you would ask me a question that why we did not mention do. You have to keep this in mind that whenever WH along with the auxiliary would be given or would be mentioned, what you have to do, you have to automatically, auxiliary will be omitted. Auxiliary will be omitted because actually the sentence is given in, or the interrogation is given or in WH. So we have to use WH when it would be given. For example, let me give you another. When do you get up early in the morning? My mother said to me, when do you get up in the morning? My mother asked me when I got up in the morning. So automatically it is the rule that whenever WH is given along with auxiliary, so we have to see only the main verb. The main verb would change into past, or if that is given in present, or if in present continuous it would be given, so it will change into past continuous. So then you have to WH will remain the same, auxiliary will be omitted, and you have to write the same, whatever is the rule, you have to follow the rule, and according to that you have to write the sentence. Now let me give you some other example for this, because I have written only for which and where. We are having what? My teacher said to me, what are you doing now? My teacher said to me, what are you doing now? My teacher asked me what I was doing then. What I was doing then. See now, you can easily observe that what is followed by subject, I. Now, then we are having which, we did for which, and then we are having when. When you are going to visit my home. My friend said to me, when you are going to visit my home. My friend asked me when I had been going to visit her home. So the same is, you can just easily know, just only you have to follow whatever rules of change I have given to you. If you will follow that, that would be very easy for you to change one indirect speech with interrogative sentences into indirect speech. Now we are going to discuss about, because we haven't done about where. The stranger said to me, the stranger said to me, or said to him, we can say, where do you live? The stranger said to me, where do you live? The stranger asked me where I lived. Now here you can easily observe that I used auxiliary along with WH, where and do. So because where do you live is again present indefinite tense, so it would change into past indefinite tense. And automatically, while you're changing that into indirect speech, what you have to do, you will omit, you will just remove question mark, and WH will remain the same, removal of auxiliary and change of tense will take place. Then we are going to do who. Who and how are left. A man said to me, who are you? A man said to me, who are you? A man asked me who I was. Why? Because we cannot say that who was I. Why? Because as I told you in the rules of change, that auxiliary WH will not be followed by auxiliaries. So you cannot say that the man asked me who was I. The correct answer would be, the man asked me who I was. Who are you? Present indefinite tense. Who I was. Now for how is left, as I told you earlier, that how is a part of WH. It is not having W, it is having only WH, but it is a part of WH. My mother said to me, how are you feeling now? My mother said to me, how are you feeling now? My mother asked me how I was feeling then. Now how I. Again, how is a part of WH, and it would be followed by either subject, noun or pronoun. So how I was feeling then. Now, as I told you earlier, when these type of words would be given, it would change into then. Now let me explain now examples for auxiliaries. Whenever we are having the same rules we are having for interrogative with with auxiliaries, but a bit different. You're not going to use that. It's the same. It will not be followed by again by auxiliaries. Only when you're going to change, or when you're going to use a sentence with all these auxiliaries, only sad will change into asked, and then you have to use either if or whether. For example, let me give you an example. She said to her, have you completed your work? Again, here we are having, she said to her, we are having in reporting speech, we are having object plus subject, both of them. And have you completed your work? First we have to observe which tense it is. As you already know, it is present perfect tense. Present perfect tense would change into past perfect tense. Here you are going to, she said to me, will change into, because it is interrogation, it will change into she asked me. She asked him, them, whatever the object would be, you have to write in the same way. She said to her, he asked her. Now it's up to you, my dear students, it's up to you. Either you are going to use if or whether. But if, because whether is, it's, if you will use if, that would be better in place of using, but both of them would be correct. He asked her if or whether. Again you can see no use of that here. And another thing is that if is followed by immediate, followed by subject, noun or pronoun. It means rules of change are the same for both interrogative, either for interrogative with WH and interrogative with auxiliaries. Now, if she had completed her work. Now, here as I told you, have you completed your work? Have you is present perfect tense. Present perfect tense would change into past perfect tense. So past perfect tense is, you already know that it is you taking had. Only have will change into had completed her work. Next example is my friend sat. Again, I did not mention here object. In the reporting speech, I did not mention object. My friend said, will you visit my home today? Again, I used auxiliary will. So here what you have to do, my friend asked, because we are not having any object, so we're not going to use any object here. My friend asked. Only, as I told you earlier, that whenever we are having interrogative either with WH or with auxiliaries, it will change into asked. My friend asked if, I have used again if, I would visit her home that day. One thing I want to tell you, we discussed about present, all part of present tense will change into past, and past tense, past indefinite tense will change into past perfect. Past continuous tense will change into past perfect continuous. There will be no change of tense will take place while we are having sentence for past perfect tense and past perfect continuous tense. The same is when we are having will, because will indicates future tense. Will and shall will only change. Let me give you some another example for interrogative with auxiliary, as we have done for have and will. The rest of them are left, so let me give you some another example, just like for SMR, was, were, do, does, did, have, we have done, had, has, had, and shall is left. For example, for is, We have to discuss in just not in very much detail. For example, is given. Is she writing? For example, she said or he said, whatever subject you are going to use, it's up to you. She said, is she writing a letter to her father? Is she writing a letter to her father? Because this is present continuous tense. Present continuous tense will change into past continuous tense. She told, because if she said to me is given, so it will change into told. If she said only, so she said will remain she said. She said, if she was, or she asked if she was writing a letter to her father. Then we are having are, MR. For example, am I baking a cake for the guest? Am I baking a cake? I said, am I baking a cake? Or she said, you can write anyone. So it will change into, if I was baking a cake for the guest. Then we are having are. Are they taking interest in their studies? He said, are they taking interest in their studies? He asked if they were taking interest in their studies. We are having was and were. Were you creating, for example, now first let me tell you example for was. Was she preparing tea for the guest? Was she preparing tea for the guest? Now she asked or he asked or they asked, it's up to you whatever you wanted to write. She asked if she had been preparing tea for the guests. Were they cleaning the room now? Were they cleaning the room yesterday? Not now, because it is we are talking about past tense. Were they cleaning the room yesterday? They said if they had been cleaning the room the previous day. Because were, as we discussed earlier, it will change into was and were. Both of them will change into had been. Do and does. Do they play cricket well? He said, do they play cricket well? He asked if they played cricket well. Because this is present, both auxiliary we are using that for present tense. So we have to change that into past. My mother said, does she take interest in her studies? My mother asked if she took interest in her studies. We are talking about now did. Now, did is, as you know, past indefinite tense. So, when we are going to use did in a sentence as auxiliary, that would change into past perfect tense. Now, he said, did he kill a snack? He asked if he had killed a snack. So, it would change into he had. Now, we are going to talk about has. Has she taken her test? The teacher said, has she taken her test? The teacher asked if she had taken her test. For have we have already done. Now we are going to talk about had. Had it been raining since morning? They said, had it been raining since morning? They asked if it had been raining since morning. Shall I prepare my lesson today? For shall, Shall I prepare? She said to him, shall I prepare my lesson today? She asked if she should prepare her lesson that day. I hope, my dear student, you would understand whatever I have taught you, and inshallah we will continue that, because in lecture 3 inshallah we will continue. Some other sentences are left, and Allah Hafiz and best of luck.